In this lesson, I want to look at making augmented and diminished intervals. Now, augmented intervals are when you take an interval and you make it slightly larger. So you augment it, make it bigger. Diminished is when you actually make it a little bit smaller. So what we're going to do is look at how to make augmented and diminished intervals. Now, in a previous video, we talked about how to make all of our intervals based on half steps. So we're going to look at an example today, starting in C with our bottom note, and then we're going to go all the way up to our minor third. But if we were to take a look at this black key here, we have two possibilities. We have a D sharp and we have an E flat. Now, I already alluded to the fact that this could be called a minor third. However, because there are two possibilities in our enharmonic notes, because it could be called a D sharp or an E flat, if we were to use the correct term, it would be called an E flat, and this would be our minor third. However, in some contexts, we could also use a D sharp. So if we were to say that this is a C to a D sharp, it's still the same interval content. So we still have 1, 2, 3 half steps, and that would give us our minor third. But if we use the terminology of C to D sharp, it's actually called an augmented second. And for short, we usually do A, U, G, and then 2 for an augmented second. Sometimes it could just be an A, 2, like this, A, 2 for augmented second. Now, oftentimes what we can do is look at another interval that's slightly larger. So let's take, for example, our C to our A flat. Now, if we count half steps from C to A flat, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 half steps. So 8 half steps from C to A flat is going to equal our minor sixth. But if we want to, say, use a diminished form of it, because it's a black key, again, we have two enharmonic possibilities. So we have our A flat, and we also have our G sharp possibility. So we've used the C to A flat as our minor sixth, but if we use our C to our G sharp, we would actually get our augmented fifth. Now, the easiest way to show this is by using our tritone, which is exactly 6 half steps away from our bottom note. So if we use our bottom note as C, and we look at our tritone, which is going to be either F sharp or G flat, one's going to be an augmented interval and one's going to be a diminished interval. Now, from C to F, we have our perfect fourth. So by going up from C to F sharp, we're going to get what's called our augmented fourth. So let's say if I wanted to take our C again, and let's say this time I want to go up to this note here. Now, if I were to call this note a D flat, we would have a standard minor second from our C to D flat. However, if I were to call this a C sharp, which is another enharmonic equivalent, then we have what's known as an augmented unison, because we have a C and a C sharp. So anytime we're using the same name, like C and C sharp, D and D sharp, G and G sharp, it's going to be an augmented unison. Even though it's the same interval, we still have 1 half step, we're still going to call it by the top note. So again, if it's a D flat, then we would call it our minor second. And if it is from C to C sharp, we would call it an augmented unison. So I hope this was really helpful, and thanks for watching.